Hello, I'm Kelly and I am on a Zoom call because it is very 2020 with Ant, and we are going through some swim analysis videos, and we thought we would give you a insight, be the fly on the wall as we look at my brother's swim stroke. The quality has been reduced because it's a Zoom call. Normally we would be able to watch these videos physically sat side by side, so the quality is really good then when we see them, and when we create videos for the swimmer to take off and have a look, the quality is much better, but we can't do that at the moment, can we, Ant?
No, we can't. So yeah, we normally record on a GoPro. We can go up to 4K. I imagine that at best you're going to be sat at home watching this in 480. I reckon Zoom will have shrunk it down that much, maybe even further. So it's going to be a little bit glitchy. It's not going to look quite so smooth, and you're probably not going to see all the pretty little bubbles as perfectly clear as we normally would if we were sat right next to you. But such is life right now. So yeah, we're going to go through Kev. We obviously can't use the recent swim footage we've been looking at due to, well, not showing everyone off in their skin tight swimming wear. But Kev has given us permission for us to show him off in his quite leery looking jammers he's got on there.
Yeah.
So we'll start it off how we normally would, and just play the video through at its normal speed. Like I say, it's going to be a little bit glitchy. We are trying to do this over probably a very poor internet connection, syncing iPads to laptops and God knows what else going on at the moment. But no, this is Kev swimming along in Lanzarote way back in March.
Take me back.
Yeah, pre-lockdown, out in the sunshine.
Yes.
And we can see this played at normal speed. I don't think you're quite getting it at speed because I'm looking at two different speeds on the two screens I've got up at the moment. So you've got a bit of a speed lag on your one, but I am watching this at full speed. And what shouts out to you at the moment, Kelly?
So looking at this angle, I mean, I like to use sort of like the naked eye as well when I'm looking at people sort of swimming, and you can instantly see little quirks that they have. And I notice in particular, my brother kind of like raises up slightly in the water. He has this funny action when he goes up, and I'd love to see what's going on underneath what's happening, because my brother's actually a really quite good swimmer. He's a British triathlon age group triathlete, so he is probably one of like the fastest swimmers in his tri club, but it's always good to actually like pick apart and see if we could make him even more efficient and faster. And instantly the little things that I can see going on, we were talking before, when at the front of his catch, I've noticed he doesn't really rotate. He's quite a flat swimmer, and I don't know whether I'd like to see his legs. Certainly those dodgy jammers are quite sinky really for a decent swimmer. So I don't know whether that's, yeah, he's got a bit of a sinky leg action going on, but certainly where he's looking, what I can see at the screen, he looks quite far forward ahead of him. So I wonder if he looked down more. Can you draw some lines on that?
I would be able to. There's a really, really bad lag on my end. Yeah, it's not playing ball in quite the same way I would like it to play ball. So bear with me. I'm going to try and close a few apps down and just see how bad this lag is.
But when you're watching it anyway, just sort of like look at the swimmer, notice where they put their hand into the water, what enters the water first, then how does that hand arm travel past the body, where does the hand leave the water, and then how does sort of like the front half of the body look against the back half of the body. Obviously we want to be as streamlined and as horizontally flat through the water to go as fast as possible. So that's the first thing we looked at, didn't we? Where his hand entry, what enters the water first.
Yeah, so I've paused it on that frame there, just so we hopefully, we're going to test how much lag that is now. I'm starting to move his hand along there and it's not moving. Are you seeing it move? It is moving now. Cool. So we're just seeing that initial part of his catch now. So as his hand comes into the water, we see a very sort of straight arm coming down towards the bottom of the pool. Really for him, and at the level that he's at, we want to definitely see that catch initiated a lot earlier. By catch, what I'm essentially looking at really is this kind of straight arm or the straight line running through his forearm there. We're seeing a straight line run throughout the length of that arm. We're not getting much bend at that elbow. And as a result, you know, you're trying to catch water with an angle of, almost like 45 degrees through his forearm there, we're not really getting that catch of the hand over the water and that forearm over the top of the water. So he's losing quite a big portion of his swim stroke there, and a lot of power. And as you see him come through those next few little slides there, little scenes there, that angle isn't changing. So, a lot of that catch is coming from the upper arm, not a lot coming from that lower portion of the arm. So there's a lot more that he can do there. That's going to make a big difference to him. I don't know, he probably swims 135 per 100, maybe slightly quicker than that. That's the kind of difference that can really bring him on to sort of like 130s, maybe even quicker than that. So there's definitely a lot he can do.
So he's coming in quite sort of flat, and I always try and visualize it of like, how do you get the most power? Imagine you're getting out of the pool. You would put your hands on the edge of the pool, and then you press your elbows down. You bend your elbows, don't you, to get out of the pool, because that's the strongest way of doing it. For him, if he was getting out of the pool there with a straight elbow, he'd be getting out like that, and that's like almost impossible to get out of the pool like that. So if he just bent that elbow as he comes under him, to get more power.
A lot of it's about like activating the right muscles as well. So from that angle there, even if you were just standing up and, where you are now, if you've got space in front of you, just put your arm out in front of you and put your hand, I don't know if I can get it on the camera there, but get your hand above your elbow and then like pull down. You can almost feel like what muscles are working. It's very much sort of like, I can feel my shoulders doing something, not a lot from my back. Whereas the minute you get that elbow up higher and start pulling down, you can feel like the upper back muscles, the lats starting to kick in a little bit more. You think of the size of your lat muscles, they're a big muscle group.
Well, yours are, but
wow, not as big as my biceps. But if you think in comparison of those different muscle types, your lats, upper back muscles, they're big, they're strong, they're not designed to swim, obviously. Sadly, none of us are really designed to swim, but they are better at pulling through the water than relying on shoulders alone. So it's a big thing you can change there. Right.
What enters the water of his hands first? Can you catch it? Oh, hello, palm. Why is he showing the camera the palm of the hand? He should be showing the floor and back.
So that's a very typical hand entry of someone who is a long time swimmer. As kids we were taught thumb in first, always enter thumb in first. And the only reason why they teach kids that is to stop them from splashing. Otherwise kids just come over the water and smack the surface of the water and it just splashes. So we were always taught, and I remember being taught exactly the same thing: thumb in first, make sure there's no splash. But the problem is we won't be able to see it from that angle. We haven't got this angle at the moment, but we would also take an angle from the front of the swimmer. So we would see exactly, once their hand has entered the water, what happens next. And generally what happens when someone's hand enters the water like that, the first thing they do is push the water out to the side. And we see it so often in the videos that we take. And it starts the classic S-bend that, again, a lot of swimmers with Kev's swimming background were taught is hand goes in that we push out to the side and we create this nice S shape under the water, because the theory is that you want to cross. Siri's kicked in. Sorry, Siri, I don't need you. Why Siri kicked in? I didn't even mention their name. But we were taught as swimmers, you want to try and cover as much ground as possible with that swim stroke. Whereas now a lot of that thinking is you want to get that hand in the water and you want to pull down as hard and as quickly as possible. Because that. We
also don't want to damage his shoulders by putting that rotation in either. So we want to see fingertips in, because I don't know if you can draw an arrow where that palm is facing the camera. Obviously forces work sort of against each other. So if he's pressing that way, where's his body going to go? Yeah,
he's going to go the equally opposite direction.
Yes. So what happens if and that is why when I'm watching him, he has that movement in the water, because he's pressing down here, and I'm using my mouse. You can't see that on your screen, but there you go. Look, he's pressing down. So his top half of his body is going to go up and his legs sink. Well, they're not really that sinky, but they could be better. So, and then when you see him at the top, he does have a little, So if
all the arrows for you,
put his hand in like that, he would instantly put the fingertips for pointing towards the bottom, and then the palm faces kind of behind you, and the force is then you're pulling yourself that way.
Yeah. So that's kind of the picture. It's very exaggerated, but that's kind of the line that we want to have. Rather than pointing those fingers down, we want to get them down, get that forearm catching the water as early as possible. Whereas, yeah, for him, just straight line through that swimming arm there. Excellent.
Can't really see that lat engage either.
No.
Not really.
No. So yeah, that's a quick little insight into how we would look at a swimmer. I think we picked out, well, probably 2 or 3 key little things that Kev could work on. But to be honest, we generally work on a rule of 3. So we give you 3 things to think about based on the swim assessments. Because any more than that, and you're just sitting in the pool and you're trying to think about too much, and everything goes out the window and you get overload. So generally 3 key things to work on. Go away, do it, come back, and then we'll try and think about another 3 things that you can work on. So we're sort of gradually moving you in that right direction of improvement, rather than saying, you're doing all this wrong, go and deal with it.
Also pick out the good things that you do right as well, because it's really important to keep doing those.
Yes.
Right. So we
exactly.
do pick out the really good stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So hopefully it's been a bit of a help. And yeah, let us know if you've got any questions.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.